Monday's Loose Women Live. It's Ruth Langsford, Olivia Attwood-Dack, Kelly Brook and Nadia Sawalha.
Thank you very much. What a lovely welcome. What a great way to start the week. Welcome to our studio audience and welcome to you at home. It's lovely to have your company this afternoon. And it is Loose Women Live. Coming up, a lot for you, as always. Gwynnie cooked up one of her famous boyfriend breakfasts at the weekend for her husband, Brad. Don't expect Olivia to be doing that for her, Brad, anytime soon, by the way. We're asking, is it outdated, actually, to cook for your partner? Also, I had an amazing one at the weekend when I was on my own. I did. Nadia can't manage without them anymore. And Olivia actively hates them. Kelly uses a finger to stop them. I'll just let that settle for a moment. Sneezing, we're talking about sneezing. You get your minds out of the gutter. Find out why the Princess of Wales sneezing has got us all talking. And from sneezing to crying.
The only way that we're going to be really good mates is if I go now. We both have space. And then we can be amazing mates when we get out, OK? I hope you find someone that makes you so, so happy.
Oh, it was one of reality TV's most emotional moments. As Love Island celebrates 10 years, Amy Hart is going to be right here telling us why she's got that show to thank for becoming a wife and a mother. Can't wait to talk to her. It's lovely to have her here today. Let's start off talking about Father's Day, which was yesterday, of course. Prince William posted this picture of his children giving their papa a big hug. Isn't that lovely?
It's a bundle.
Oh, it's a bundle, yeah. Meanwhile, the newly knighted, well, he's not quite Sir yet. Is he Sir yet until he gets his sting?
Yeah.
Is he?
Not yet.
Yes. Anyway.
I don't think so. You know.
David Beckham, Sir, soon to be Sir David Beckham. He shared pictures with all his sons. This is obviously among these very strong rumours that Brooklyn is not speaking to him at the moment. And it can actually be a very tough day if you lost your dad, if you've fallen out with your dad. You know, it's an emotional day, Kelly. And I posted yesterday about my dad, you know, a nice picture of us when we were kids. But I did put, you know, sending love to those today who are finding today difficult. Two of my friends both lost their dads just last year, so this is the first Father's Day without them.
Yeah, I've not had my father for many years now, and yeah, every year it comes around and you get bombarded on email. Do you want to send your dad flowers? Buy your dad this, buy your dad that. And it is a really tough time. But, you know, I try... It's a really... There's only certain times of the year where I really think about my dad. Father's Day is obviously one of them. And obviously when I got married 3 years ago and my dad wasn't there. And honestly, like, getting married and the whole planning of a wedding is so stressful anyway. But the biggest thing for me was not having my dad walk me down the aisle. And it gave me so much anxiety, that whole thought of that day and him not being there. And I just thought, how am I going to get through with this? Like, how am I going to do this without just being a blubbering mess when I get to... And I didn't want it to be about that. And then on my wedding day, we was going to get married outside in a garden. We had the biggest thunderstorm. Oh. And we couldn't get married where we wanted to get married. And in the end, I got ushered into this, like, tower. And there was no aisle. I didn't have to walk anywhere alone. And I was pretty much there. And my auntie came up to me.
This was when you say a tower, in case people think...
It was like this kind of, like,
Italy.
Italian tower, medieval tower. And my aunt said... That's your dad. He came down from the heavens to the earth, and he wanted to, like, get you there somehow, and you didn't have to do that big, like, horrible walk there. And I thought it was a very kind of spiritual, romantic way of looking at it. So, you know, they are with you in some respect, however you look at life, or there's things that remind you of them when they pass.
I think as well, Olivia, now we've got social media, guilty of it myself. I did it yesterday, posted a picture of my dad and I was 5, and saying, oh, I miss my dad and the best dad ever. Everyone says the best dad ever. So if you don't have the best dad ever, that's tricky too. Yeah, I always think with Mother's Day and Father's Day, it's if you've lost a parent or you have a difficult relationship with a parent, it must be like really torturous because you can't escape it. It's everywhere, and then commercially they're kind of pushing it at you weeks in advance in the shops and kind of trying to get you to buy stuff. So it must be really hard. And then on the other side, if you do have that good relationship and they are still around, it can be quite reflective. And I was thinking yesterday about it, and when I was saying we've got the best dad ever, you know, like everyone does, when you're a child, you know, you just think your parents are just a massive inconvenience to your fun. As me and my dad, we lived in Canada. You just think that they're there to, you know, put rules in place and they're just annoying. And then as you get older and you meet more people in your life and you learn about other people's life stories, you realise that having a genuinely good person as a parent is just a lottery. Like, you know, and it's not something that everyone is so fortunate to have a good parent. And then it makes you feel very grateful.
Yeah.
I mean, you're very close to your dad, Nadia, and lucky you've still got your dad.
I know, he's 92 this year and he lives next door, so I see him. She'll make me cry, and I don't know why I get emotional about it. But yeah, so he was such a. I never had that irritation with my dad because he never put any rules in place whatsoever, and was like cuddly and loved us and would just laugh and would constantly tell us that we could all be whatever. It wasn't until years later my mum said, "Well, yes, that's because he'd moan to me, and then I'd have to tell you off." So it was the classic, you know. But my husband yesterday, he posted something on Instagram that honestly it just made me cry so much because he didn't have a dad and he was always looking for his dad. He would come out every day out of school and look for his dad. The only and it just broke my heart. And he worries so much about whether he's a good enough dad because he didn't have a dad, you know. And he's such an amazing dad. And I say to him, when I look at my daughter's boyfriends and I see what lovely men they are and how kind they are and the way they look after them in the way that Mark does, I say to him, look, there's the proof. They know what a good man is, you know? I'm not saying that's the only way you can, but I certainly think, like, when I had some dodgy men in between to where I got, you know, I always knew I was going to have somebody that cherished me and looked after me because that's what my dad had done for me. So they were never.
Well, he set the bar, hasn't he, for your
girls?
girls?
Set the bar.
Set the bar.
It is such a privilege to be in the lottery and win a good dad.
Yes.
It is a privilege.
Yeah. Very, very lucky. I mentioned the Prince of Wales there. The royal family, of course, were back on the balcony at the weekend for the King's Trooping the Colour. Hay fever season, of course, is in full swing, and the Princess of Wales was spotted having a little sneeze. And lots of people have been talking about how dainty she looked when she was having... Look, there she is. Like...
I was holding a pelvic floor at the same time.
No, I just looked at that sneeze and thought, that is... You can imagine it was probably just like... And it made me laugh because yesterday, I was at home yesterday afternoon on my own and I felt this sneeze coming, and because I was on my own, I was like, oh, this is going to be a good one. I was like this. You know, when you're waiting, it's building. It's like, sorry, Olivia. Look. Anyway, I let it out, and it was a really good, satisfying sneeze. I wouldn't do it.
You're literally turning me on because I do think that there's something very special about sneezes. Honestly, me and my sister, if my sister's watching now, she's going to get euphoric recall. When we're now, listen, if there's any kids watching or any grown-ups, do not do this at home. It's extremely dangerous. But we used to love opening a Kirby grip, and we'd sit opposite each other, and we'd go like this with the Kirby grip, and we'd just go, dear, dear, until we would sneeze. And we'd spend hours sometimes, because sometimes we'd almost get it, and then we wouldn't. And actually, a sneeze is a millionth of an orgasm. So I think that's what it... And that's what happened to you yesterday on your own. That's what it was. You were having a million.
You had 1% of an orgasm.
Oh. There you go.
I mean, who needs a man? The thing is, Olivia, to use the Love Island expression, this is absolutely giving you the ick now,
oh, my God, my own phrase. Thank you so much.
I am... Did you copyright that?
Oh, another conversation. I would like to be a more tolerant human being, but we're just not there yet, and I can't bear people sneezing. I know it's a human reaction, and I can tolerate one. My thing is public transport. You know, when someone has, like, a sneezing fit, it's not their fault. What are you going to do if you've got one? But I'm going to move carriages.
Yeah.
No, Olivia, no, you don't.
I cannot get ill.
Or is it the noise or the germs?
It's everything. If I see they just, like, putting it out and there's no hand, no attempt, I'm just like, you're an animal to me.
But when you see it building up and they're like... As soon as they open their mouth,
already gone.
you just stick your finger in, don't you? Like pretend to sneeze.
We've gone back to
And
all
your mouth's open, and then you just stick your finger in.
No,
and that stops you
No,
sneezing.
that's yawning.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yawning.
Oh, I was sticking my finger.
I was going to say, I think someone sold you a pup there.
You did that, someone said they'd bite your finger off. But yeah, I'm a self-proclaimed germaphobe, and I think it's the sound, it's the wetness of it to just know that something has exited. I have to go.
And you are a self-confessed control freak, so it's probably you didn't have any control over that situation.
And for myself, I will only ever need to sneeze when I'm in full glam, and there's something I'm going to ruin it. That's the only time I ever need, and I'm like trying to keep my eyes open, which is impossible.
Well, listen, please, audience, be warned. Try not to sneeze. If you think you're going to sneeze, put your hand up. We'll try and get you out. OK, because we don't want Olivia attacking you or anything, running off the set screaming. OK, it is time for us to take a break now. After that, the Prime Minister has announced a full national inquiry into the grooming gang scandal. Do you trust that it will make a difference to the victims and survivors? Our very strong views about that topic right after this.